All right, look at this. We are here on a Monday. I don't know if it's probably evening for you. It's afternoon for me. The sun is shining in Michigan right now. And Spurs have just won 2 games in a row. And both of them 4-0, 2 clean sheets. What is happening? What is happening? What world, what universe are we living in? It's good to see you in the chat. Mr. K, should we have a singing encore? Oh my gosh. It's, I know what I want to sing. A few months ago now, when I was able to have some time to just make some videos instead of just live streams, which has been so much fun, I wrote a little song for Gareth Bale, and the lyrics are, Gareth Bale, Bale, I remember his big sale. He went off to Real Madrid, and we knew he'd never fail. When Zidane gave up his spot, Daniel Levy shot his shot, and he brought him back to Tottenham on the flight with Reguilon. And I feel like we are living that. We have brought Gareth Bale back. Gareth Bale is back, and it is such good news. Techno, hello. Good to see you in the chat. And hopefully we're going to hear your voice as well. So today we are going to be talking about these back-to-back wins. And I asked in the Discord server, what are the questions you have? Usually I'm the one asking questions, and I'll post some questions on there. And I've been asking you, but what are some of the questions you have for me, or what would you like to discuss today? And we got some really great questions coming in. So we'll be talking about some of those. I had hoped to bring Dakota on. Dakota is someone who is regularly sharing on Podspur TV, which is a podcast that's on YouTube, but they also just have a pod called Podspur. Great pod. If you want to check it out, I'm sure you can do that on Spotify. That's where I listen to my podcasts and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun today, even though he's not going to be able to be here. Unfortunately, he had a personal issue come up that he had to go deal with. So we're going to have Techno coming on in a little bit. Sounds like Luke has also said that he's going to chat with us a little bit later on in the show. And if you want to come on and chat with me, I actually want to invite you to do that. So it'll be a little later on, probably around 15 minutes from now. If you haven't joined our Discord server, get in on that Discord server. Let me see if I can put that in the chat really quick. And I would love for you to chat with me and talk about Tottenham. So, yeah, every week we do these questions. Let me just show you this. I would love for you to summarize your post-match thoughts. And I love when people send in audio clips, like 30 to 45 seconds. Let me know your thoughts. You can talk about the style of play. You can talk about the starting 11, our substitutions, call out a player, whatever it might be. You're always welcome to join the conversation. So let me go back to the Europa League game. And before I do that, I just want to say thanks for the compliments on my singing. Mr. K says, I'm going to edit that last song you did when we get to the end of the season and create a video montage. Oh my gosh, that sounds, hopefully we can smile, right? By the end of the season, we'll be singing the usual song that we can't smile without Spurs, rather than we can't smile while we're watching Spurs. Mr. K asks, can we defensively go on to hitting top 4? Man, that is the question. That is a serious question. And I want to look at some of the things that I've been seeing on Twitter about our spending and who we have in our squad. And that is top 4, even though it feels like we haven't been playing that well, it doesn't seem like it's too far out of reach. And that's what's just crazy. The season is just so crazy. So let me go back to the Discord server when I was asking, I had 3 questions after the Europa League game, which was, what are your overall thoughts? And then one of the questions I had was this: regarding Delhi, and maybe you can answer this in the chat. Is Delhi going to come full circle like Tanguy, or do you think he still pushes for a move at the end of the season? He's starting to look a little happier. He's smiling. Dele Alli is smiling. And, when he came on as a substitute, even on Sunday, he looked ready to go. He looked excited. So I think that that could be a huge thing. I think Dele might come full circle, but you never know. It's Pochettino over there at PSG, and it might be tougher to convince him to stay if he's going to still continue to be a substitute rather than part of the starting 11. So yeah, you let me know in the chat. Do you think that Dele Alli comes full circle just like Tanguy? Maybe this is his tough season, but he comes back and he's stronger and better than ever. I'll share with you some of the thoughts that people had. And then also I asked, would you pick a GIF to describe how you felt when Bale hit that rocket of a shot? And this was back in the Europa League game, but he did it again. He did it again on Sunday. And that's why I think Bale is back. He's coming. I mean, I don't even think he's prime Bale yet. Like, he's not the best of Bale, but he is starting to get it into gear. And I can't. Can you imagine? We used to talk about Desk before, right? Dele, Eriksson, Sonny, and Kane. And now I'm starting to wonder if we're about to bask. You know what I'm saying? Bask. We got Bale. We got Ali. I know it's not Dele, but Ali, Sonny, and Kane. We're going to bask in the glory of Tottenham Hotspur. So let me show you some of these, or talk to you about some of these answers that people had, and you get on in that chat. Let me know. Do you think Dele comes full circle? What were some of your overall thoughts? Mark said about the Europa League game, my overall thoughts is that everyone played well except Winks, who was average, and Vinny is a goal theft stealing the goal from Scarlett, which I thought, I felt good for Scarlett because he got that assist. But yeah, I mean, Vinny is just... Vinny's kind of fighting for his career a little bit. Not like his career is going down, but I don't know how much he wants to stay at Spurs, but Jose's not giving him any time in the Prem. And he's still scoring goals. He's still participating, I think, pretty well in all the games that he has been a part of. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. Let's see, back in the chat. Hello, Alexander Hilton. And hello, Rune. Welcome. Glad that you're here. Good to see you in the chat. We're talking about Dele Alli. Well, do you think he'll come full circle just like Tanguy, or do you think he'll still push for a move in the summer? Mark said, I think Dele will play on the right like he did today, and going from a right winger, and Ndombele will play in a pivot with Højbjerg. So, yeah, looking like he's thinking that Dele's going to make it. He's going to turn that corner. And we got a submission from Regina as well. She said, Dele's performance midweek was great, but it was against mediocre opposition. His real test will be in the Prem against sides with better quality. But it's definitely a step in the right direction. And as long as he's playing games and doing it with a smile on his face, I don't see him pushing for a move. So let's hope. Let's hope, because I think, he's an English player. He's helping us out in that way. Super important, I think, to keep him with our squad. So let me share some of these, though. These are some of the gifts. If you remember that goal, I hope you remember that goal where Bale just fired that ball into the back of the net. Here were some of the gifts that people shared. This is what it felt like seeing Gareth Bale put that ball in the back of the net. This was, let me see who posted this. Techno suggested this one, and you know what? Are you anime fans? I just have been watching a little bit of anime, not a lot, but a little. And what I've been watching, I watched One Punch Man, and I watched Attack on Titan. I'm actually keeping up to date with all these new episodes of the fourth and the final season. And man, Attack on Titan. Your chest is blown out with all the emotions as you're watching this show. So that's one. Here's another one. Yes, when he scored that goal, a couple people used this gif, and man, that is the fire and the intensity with which I felt like, oh my gosh, yes, let's go. There's just something about Bale just has so much power. You know what I mean? When he hits those balls, it's just like powerful and strong, and I love that. Let's see in the chat. We got some people that are sharing. It depends on what will happen with Lo Celso. I think that's a great point regarding Dele. Will he stay or will he go? Yeah, if Lo Celso can do what Dele does, yeah, then it's going to be a big question mark for Dele Alli. Mr. K, hashtag Bale is back. I'm loving it. It's the look that he had before he took that shot. I love that. Totally. Mr. K says, what would Dele's pay packet look like if he went to PSG? He doesn't want to leave it too late to make a move. Poch is his one chance to make it to the next level. I think that's part of the reason why I'm asking the question is, you know, Dele to me, I don't know Dele Alli from Adam. You know, I've never met the man. But I do feel like he likes football. It's fun. And that's different from Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Like Harry Kane is I don't know. I mean, Harry Kane obviously loves football, but it's like he wants to accomplish things. He's driven. He's fighting for trophies. He's fighting for prestige. He wants to have all the goals. He wants, you know, his passing on his FIFA card was low this season, and then he said something at the beginning of the season like, we're going to up that number. The man's got more assists. He's tied with Kevin De Bruyne, right? So you just think, man, it's a different kind of player than Dele, who's playing for fun, and he loves like the kind of like the not the childishness of it in a negative way, but like he loves playing the game. It's fun for him. So I think he could go to be with Pochettino, and that would be a good fit for him. He'd definitely get a nice paycheck over at PSG. And I don't know if he'd have to work as hard for that paycheck. You know, the way that the contracts seem to be structured at Spurs, it's based on performance, right? You score X amount of goals, you get these bonuses. You know, I think that's part of the reason why I have a friend that just can't stand Harry Kane. He's a Liverpool fan anyway, but he was saying like, you know, he fought for that goal that Eriksen scored, like that he got that last touch, and I was trying to say to him like, yeah, he fought for that goal because I'm sure in his contract it's how many goals he scored, and for Eriksen's contract it's how many assists he had. So it's good for both. So, 92 Flamethrower, welcome. Good to see you. Holly, good to see you. So fun to see these people in the chat. That number 10 spot will be fought between Dele, Lucas, and Lo Celso. We're going to talk about that. That's one of the questions that was in our Discord server, and I want to talk about that a little bit later. That was Rob's question. Let me share this too. This is a couple more of those gifts that people sent in. Luke Ferris, when he saw Bale's goal, like just, you know, loving that. Robert Downey Jr. Avengers gif. Rob had sent in this happy cry, you know, just like, oh, Bale, baby, it's so good to have you back, right? And then the one that I felt like was just blown away by that Gareth Bale goal. It's just so good to see him coming back and showing us what he is made of. So I wanted to chat with a couple different people and head over to the Discord server. And I'm going to hop in here. So we're going to take a literally 30-second pause. I'm going to catch up with Techno, and we are going to chat a little bit about Tottenham. So stick around for literally 15 seconds. All right, we are back with Techno, which, by the way, if you want to join this conversation, you're part of our Discord server. You head over to, let's see if I can show that actually. just head over here. We're right in here in this little channel right now. And just hop in, stay muted, and we'll keep talking, and we'll get you joining the conversation as well. But Techno, you had some questions about Toby and Davidson. You said, do you think this is the partnership that we're looking for, Toby and Davidson? I want to ask it back to you. Do you think that this is a good partnership?
I think so, because Davinson needs a leader right next to him, and I think Toby might be the leader in the defense, because I think that hasn't been developing into like a leader.
Yeah.
But Toby might turn into a leader because he has experience. He's old. Because Vertonghen was there to help Davinson.
Yep.
Now
Totally.
Toby's there. He can help him stay back. Don't go forward like a fool. You know?
Like a fool. Yeah, for sure. Totally.
It could be it could be like the same Davinson that was in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was next to Vertonghen, and Vertonghen was there always calming down.
Yep.
Don't get stressed, concentrate. Now, if Toby does that, we don't know. We could have a really good run.
Yeah.
And might finish on winning trophy.
Totally. And I think, I'm in agreement with you. I think that I don't know if it's the partnership we're looking for in the sense of I would trust it week in and week out. I just feel like Davinson, he's still so young. He's making those rookie mistakes still, which is disappointing. But it goes to show how much Yan meant to our club. And I hope that Toby can take that leadership role. I think there was an article done by Alistair Gold that was talking about how much Jan Vertonghen would just be dictating that back line and things like that. And I think Jose wanted Dyer to be that voice.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is that voice yet. He's just moved back into that back line this season.
He just needs to get more vocal.
Yes.
And because no one at the back is getting very vocal.
Yeah.
Like Lloris, you can see sometimes getting vocal, to catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But against West Ham, he wasn't that vocal, and the ball came at him, and no one was there to cover for him.
Right.
And when he missed the ball, and there were Tanganga and Dyer just standing around and not acting. Trying to get the ball away, but yeah, that's what I mean. If Vertonghen was there, you don't know. That could have been saved. He could have said, "Hugo, catch the ball."
Totally.
Or, you head it out.
Yep. Yeah. So Holly's in the chat, and Holly is saying Toby is our best defender by far. I think Dyer's ego battles with Toby, hence why we haven't seen Toby and Dyer combo work well. Do you agree with Holly? Do you think that Toby is our best defender?
Yeah, to be honest, I think so, because he is experienced and he knows what to do in the game. I think he might have won trophies. I don't know. I haven't seen his
I think
past record.
He did with Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid.
Yep.
Yeah. But the thing is with Dyer and Alderweireld, they're just not that pacey at the back. So that's why I think Jose might tend to go with
Davinson,
Toby and Davinson.
Yep.
Because there's a balance of experience and pace.
Totally. Yeah, Holly makes a good point there that the egos potentially of Dyer and Toby. And to me that's kind of a bummer because I feel like Toby is definitely more experienced. He's obviously played with Vertonghen for so long, both in their international team and then with Spurs. You would imagine that Dyer would kind of maybe submit to that leadership. But again, I don't know if it's because of Jose's trust in Dyer that makes Dyer want to command that back line more. But he doesn't seem to have the presence of mind to know when to send Davidson forward or to hold him back, like you were saying. One thing I noticed in the game yesterday against Burnley, I don't know if you noticed this, was the rotation between when Reguilon would push up, Toby seemed to come down into the corner and Reguilon kind of dropped back central a bit, and then they'd rotate again. And I feel like I like to see that way more than what we've been seeing, which seems to be everyone has a zone. And if someone goes out of their zone, I don't know, remember Son wouldn't even run after some players. He just kind of jogged back, sauntered back.
They just know what to do next. They know their jobs.
Yep, totally. So your other question was, do you think this is a turning point for Davinson? I definitely think that game will be a huge boost of confidence. He had so many clearances. I think he played very smart. There was one pass that he made that was like, oof, you just get nervous going out the back with mistakes like that. But I think that Davinson might be turning a corner. But like I said, I still would look. Yeah, I would look at the opposition and say, is Davinson the right choice? You know what I mean? Rather than just saying, yeah, he's got that starting spot, kind of no questions asked. But let me put the question back to you again. Do you think it's a turning point for him?
I believe he can be a top player still. He can be a top defender. It's
totally.
Just not like he just loses concentration at the wrong moment, and he just needs someone experienced just to help him out, because he's still a young lad and just needs to just get his head in the game. The whole game, and that will make him a top player.
Totally.
I know he has pace, he can defend, he has strength, but sometimes he looks like a donkey, donkey in a pitch.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Well, he's brain dead. He's brain dead sometimes. I feel like he just like it's like he's so instinctual, which is fine. Tanguy Ndombele is a very instinctual player, but if your instincts are off, then you're getting Davinson Sanchez sometimes. You're just getting this like he's flying into tackles, or he's pushing up way too high. Yeah.
The third goal against the Man City, like he looked like I don't know what to do. Like he's like, what should I do? I'm turning around. He's trying to defend the ball with his head and just bangs his head on the floor.
I know.
Or the ground, like, what are you doing?
I know that picture. That picture of him with his, just totally face planted in the ground. I felt like.
It's like he's doing.
What's that?
Breakdance.
Yeah. Well, so watching that back, I mean, again and again, because it was all over the place on Twitter and stuff, I almost felt like it was like a last ditch effort to just try to get any part of his body in front of that ball because he knew he had screwed up.
That's what I was thinking.
But it's just, unfortunate.
After that game, I thought that might be it for Sanchez. He might just be dropped in the reserve for under 23s, and just at the end of the season, just bye-bye.
Yeah.
For like 30 mil.
Totally.
And just get screened.
Yeah. Well, Techno, thanks so much for asking your question. I'm going to bring on, I think this is the real deals as well. But yeah, keep joining us in the chat, all right?
All right. Bye. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you. All right. The real deals. What's going on?
Hello. Good. Thank you.
You doing all right?
It's yeah.
Good.
I'm good.
So you got a question, or what do you want to talk about?
First off, the reason why there's something which I don't think you know, but you remember when there was speculation of when Pochettino was like thinking about like going to United.
Yep.
And he ended up going to PSG instead. This piece of news came out while the speculation was going on. And what it stated was the reason why United did not end up going for Pochettino, even though there were reported talks about it, the Spurs had put in a anti-Premier League contract into his clause.
Yeah. Yep.
Which meant that any team who would want Pochettino from the Premier League, they would have to pay a certain sum over to Spurs in order to time off his contract.
Yeah. I mean, brilliant Daniel Levy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about Daniel Levy. So, I understand. I totally understand. It's so frustrating when you think about the players that we could have brought in, right? Bruno Fernandes. You're like, that looked like it should have been, that should have gone over the line. It doesn't go over the line.
Yeah.
You've got Ruben Diaz. There's another one. Should have gone over the line, doesn't go over the line. And the guy, he's amazing. You can just see what he's doing over at Man City. You can see what Bruno Fernandes is doing at Manchester United. But so yes, I do think Daniel Levy makes considerable mistakes. But in the contracts that he does get over the line, they're frugal, they're smart.
Yeah.
Even with the Sergio Reguilon one, right? It's like we're gonna get Sergio Reguilon. He's ours. Reguilon has to decide to go back if he wants to, and you get another 15 mil on the top.
It's 45 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 45, but I think we brought him in for 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just as much stick as we want to give him. I do think that he's so shrewd, and also, that's part of the reason why I don't think we're just gonna say, or that Levy's gonna just say Jose out, because imagine all the money that we're gonna have to pay him,
and we would have to pay him 30 million to time off his contract.
Totally,
and that's the same amount sum that we paid for Reguilon.
Right. So, I just don't see, I understand the frustration, especially when we go on these run of games where it's like we lose to West Ham or we're whatever. And it's frustrating. But I think Daniel Levy had so much desire to bring Jose Mourinho in. Yeah. He talked about that before.
He wanted him, like, he's been chasing him down for like 9 years.
Yes. And so now that he's got him, I think he's going to give him time. Which I appreciate. I don't want to do like a year or 2 years with a manager, because we don't have the spending power to just bring in a bunch of players every year. So these players have to be developed.
And seeing that we're in a COVID environment, it's going to be it's even harder.
Totally. Yeah, it's super hard to imagine a lot of money being spent when you can't fill the stadium with even 20 people, let alone 62,000.
Have you ever been to the stadium?
So in 2017, I was able to go. I won a trip to, but I watched them at Wembley. But I got to see the stadium being built, and I mean it was not even close to being completed. Now I've heard it looks like a rocket ship, just kind of like landed in the middle of North London, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. How about yourself? Have you ever been?
No, but I really want to go.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, let me ask you this question. We got a couple questions that came in. One of the questions is, who is best suited at the number 10 if everyone's fit? Lo Celso, Dele, Lamela, or Mora?
That's a tough one, because they're all very good, and they're all very good. They're all very good squad players as well. So, if I was Jose, I would have Harry Kane striker.
Yep.
Then I would have Son. And then I would have Lo Celso.
Okay. You put Lo Celso in there.
Yeah.
And why do you say Lo Celso?
Because of what he did for his because of his back-end performance last season, and that he's able to help us out creatively as well.
Yeah, and you're being
and we've definitely missed the Celso.
Totally. And I just want to say, you got a couple people in the chat that are agreeing with you. Rune and Ashley have both said Gio, Lo Celso. 92 Flamethrower has said Dele if he plays like the old Dele, and I think that's what's, we're kind of stocked in that position
in the creative department.
Yes, when everyone's fit. So that's where, or fit and flying, I should say.
Yeah.
Because Dele, when Dele disappears, it's like, well, this is great. Now you got Gio, who can come in or something like that. But even recently, Lucas Moura has been playing kind of out of his mind. He scored 3 goals. But that's not what I expect from him, if I'm being honest. I don't expect him to do that and to be that. It's almost like you got to ride that Lucas Moura wave when he's flying, get him on the pitch, and then he kind of disappears, and hopefully you got someone else to come in behind him.
Yeah. And that's when you would put either Gio or Lamela in.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that's another part of this too is if Lamela could stay fit, oh my gosh.
We need Lamela in the squad. We can't let him go just yet.
Yeah, oh yeah. So you're saying you wouldn't let him go in the summer or something like that? No, okay.
Because we need him as a backup for if one of our other creative midfielders get tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the problem for me with Lamela. I think he's injured so much that it's especially when you start thinking about the Europa League squad, right? It's another player that takes up a space, and if he's injured, he's just sitting there. Even and then Mr. K saying, "Lo Celso needs a wheelchair to play." I don't know if he totally needs a wheelchair, but there's something about when a player is so good, but then they're injured half that time.
Yeah,
it's so difficult.
It's a bit like when we missed Kane.
Yes.
Like I think it was last season, and we had to play with Son on the back end of the season before COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Lo Celso coming back is, I mean, it's definitely good news for Spurs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit more of a headache for Jose, which is great. I'd rather him have a headache over having too many players to choose from than a headache of, do you play Harry Winks or Moussa Sissoko? And you're like, well,
Harry Winks is a squad player.
Yeah.
And probably doesn't get a consistent start, but he's all right when he's on the pitch.
Totally. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens when Gio comes back, because it sounds like he's coming back pretty soon. I think he's earned a starting spot in our next Prem match, which is against Fulham. I think,
and definitely Europa.
Yes, Europa. He's in. But I'm not sure. I just the thing about Dele that bothers me is his like when he posts that picture on Instagram.
Lack of playing.
Well, it's part of it is probably his lack of play, but it's like I think what Jose is looking for is the squad. Not squad is the wrong word. Team mentality. Like Dele plays for himself. Yeah, like Dele's playing for himself, and I don't mean that in like a super negative way, but it's just like he's posting that picture with like the super pouty face when he doesn't get to play and we lose and stuff like that. I'm like, buddy, listen, we all want the same thing.
He tries too many flicks. He tries cool tricks to fool opponents.
Totally.
And that's kind of the problem, and I think that's why he's got criticised a lot.
Yeah,
it's because he gives too many balls away.
Yep.
But if you look at our other creative midfielders, they give the balls away as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes
everybody's like even in Dembele, right? He talks about taking risks and stuff like that, and it's like if you take risks, you're gonna risk losing the ball or whatnot. Yeah. I think that's what makes Harry Winks frustrating, right? It's that guy's not taking any risk. He's just trying to make a cross across the field, and it's ended up in the touchline.
He's been criticized a lot for side-to-side passing as well.
Yes, side-to-side passing for sure. All right, last question for you, and then I'm going to take some of the other stuff from the chat. But this question was, when will we see Bale's heart celebration? What will it take for him to do his classic, heart celebration? Because he hasn't done it yet. Do you think he's waiting for the fans to be back in the stands? What do you think he's waiting for?
I wouldn't be surprised if he waited till the fans to come back in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good question because it's classic Gareth Bale.
Who answered it? Who questioned it?
Yeah. Who questioned it?
Yeah.
This is a guy, Rob, on the Discord server. He was asking. Okay. Yeah, and so I wonder too, because Gareth Bale is not number 9. Generally speaking, he's 11. I think he
play on the he more or less plays on the wings.
Yes, and
down the channels.
Right, but I think he's like he trademarked his goal celebration and called it the 11 of hearts, and I I wonder if he's waiting for the number on the back of his shirt to be 11 again. I don't know. It just seems really weird that he hasn't used that celebration.
It's a very good theory, though.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, thanks so much for doing this. I'm thinking I'm gonna have some more just kind of call in stuff like this in the future shows, and appreciate you jumping on.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been so fun to continue talking about some of these things here. In a few minutes, I'm going to have Luke come on. Luke's going to share with us some of his thoughts about Gareth Bale, and also where we're going to be sitting in the North London Derby. Let me get back into this chat, though. There were some really good points in here, and I didn't want to miss them. So let's see. Going back up to 92 Flamethrower said, I doubt Toby and Sanchez will work against a more difficult opposition, as they both struggle on the left side of defense. I think that's, I'm not sure, left, right. I think they work together well. Yeah, when it's maybe easier competition, but Burnley are a tough competition. I'm not saying they're like top 6. Hear me out. I'm just saying that Burnley can be really tough to break down. And I feel like I've seen enough games as a Spurs fan where you watch us just struggle to break them down. They get a counter, they score a goal, and we're just, fighting to get that draw. I was concerned about that coming into this game. The way we lost to West Ham, I know we looked good in the second half, but I started to wonder if the squad had lost its fire or its edge in playing the Premier League games. Like, they're going to fight in Europa, they're going to fight for the League Cup, obviously, but yeah. So I'm not sure left or right. You're probably more aware of that than I am. Let's see here. Ashley mentioned, yes, Lo Celso is coming back soon. Mr. K said, the biggest problem I've seen about the team is their overall poor leadership skills. I think this is something that Jose really wanted to fix as he brought in players, right? Every player that he brought in the summer, let's be clear, not in the January window. I almost feel like the January window was a mix of Pochettino and Mourinho in terms of bringing in Bergwijn and Jedson Fernandez. But in the summer, most of the players have a significant voice. Joe Hart, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Gareth Bale. Obviously, Doherty, no. Reguilon, question mark. He's an interesting, he's kind of playful and fun as well, but seems very, very determined. So I think, and they all had won things in the past. That was another kind of characteristic of those players that I thought was really interesting. Whereas, bringing in maybe a very, very talented player that had not won anything. This is why when we start talking about bringing in keepers, like I've seen people talk about Pope. And I can understand Pope from the perspective that he's English, but what's he won? I think that matters to Jose. I think the fact that you won something matters to him. It says that you can get across the finish line when it really, really matters. All right, we'll keep reading through some of these. Ravager says, if we are using Son and Bale, we have to use Mora. Who else has the pace to keep up? That's a good point. One thing I loved to see in the game against Burnley, right? You have Gareth Bale pinging in these long balls that are going into Kane, right? That was just so beautiful. And then Kane can do the same thing too. I think it really is deceptive for the defense. It's like, who do they mark? And they've talked about how Kane, when he drops deep, it becomes a significant issue for the center backs, because if they push up too high, they're creating all sorts of space for Son to create that, Son to cut in or whoever. And it's good news for us. So I think to have someone like Bale who can just rocket a shot from distance, who can also make a great pass, to have him and Harry Kane is huge. Absolutely huge. All right, let's see what else. Any trivia today? No, we're not going to be doing trivia today. We did trivia last week. We'll do it again next week. I know you're looking for that trivia because you got that number one spot there, Techno, and you got to defend your place. So you're up there in number one spot still. No worries. No one's coming at you today, but we'll get you another time. Jamie, what's going on? Our front three is firing on all cylinders. Is the deadliest in the league, and no mistake. I think you're right on that. I think when they're firing on all cylinders, that's why I'm so excited to see Bale getting his pace. You know, he knocked that ball around and made that run, and I thought, oh, this is who we want to see. This is what we were hoping for. And I was starting to lose heart a little bit with Gareth Bale because I started to feel like, man, he struggled to get the minutes. Even when he was getting the minutes, he looked tentative. You know, he looked nervous to really make a good run for it. I felt like his, you know, obviously some of his shots he missed. I forget which game it was. I think it was a Europa League game where he made this just incredible, deking run and then just totally missed. I thought, okay, he's just got to get his bearings, get that, get those feet fine-tuned to find the back of the net again. And that's starting to happen. And he's loving life. He's smiling, which makes you smile. You know, even the jokes that he was doing with Lucas Moura, right? Because they're doing like the Welsh Mafia thing or whatever. And Lucas Moura's coming in here with the big L. It's just so goof. Only Lucas Moura, right? I just feel like Lucas Moura is like the nerdy kid. He's like the nerdy kid that's like, I want to be cool too. And he's like, we'll let you sit at the table, but don't do your L thing. You know, that's kind of weird or whatever. He's pushing him out of the way. All right, last couple things in here. And then I want to hit up Twitter for a second. And then we're going to be bringing on the man, the myth, the legend, Luke Ferris. So Jamie said Pope, Francis, or Ratzinger. James McGrath said Henderson instead of Pope. You know, I don't know. I think that's the question. I don't even really know. Let me do this actually. Let me pull this up. Part of the reason why I wanted to bring up Twitter. Pull this up here. This guy, Hugo Lloris, World Cup winning captain of France, captain of Spurs, got his 100th clean sheet. 100 clean sheets in the Premier League for Hugo. And that's an incredible feat. Do you think that we should be looking for his replacement as an immediate replacement now? Meaning someone that's going to say, come in and immediately take his spot? Or do we look for someone who can be his understudy for a season, maybe 2 seasons, and then take his spot? We'll send him off to France and he can kind of finish out his career there. I think I've heard that's what he wants to do. I would love to know your thoughts on that because I just don't think it's this. Maybe next season you could do that, but he's our captain. So it feels like you're kind of cutting the legs out from under him to just immediately pull that away from him. Let me see here. I wanted to pull up some of these bookmarks here. Here's some funny things, dude. Twitter is an amazing place. Check this out. Can you see this? Dude, who does this? Who is doing this? First of all, how did you do that? I mean, even the shadow. Like, this is so funny to me. Just a mini Gareth Bale. This is the ad right here. If you wanted to check that out for yourself, so stinking funny to me to see that little mini Gareth Bale. Wanted to show this, guys. This was disappointing. Let's show it here. Dude, look at what West Ham did. This what? You made a poster of this? You draw. You got to draw. But apparently that's what we're celebrating over in West Ham. That's why I don't think they're going to keep their spot, their 4th place spot. This one. Would love to know your thoughts on this. Maybe you agree. No Dyer, no Davies, no Sissoko, no Winks. No coincidence. No coincidence. Man, I don't know. It's maybe it is no coincidence that that Spurs were able to go 4-0 up against Burnley. All right, I'm going to quick take another little 15, 30-second break. We're going to bring Luke on here. I'm going to have a quick chat about this this beautiful man named Gareth Bale. So don't go too far. Like I said, 15, 30 seconds. We're going to make it happen. All right, just kidding. We're having some technical difficulties, which is no problem. But yeah, so if you want to hop into the LT3 caller channel, come in on mute, and I would love to chat with you about whatever you want to talk about. We're just having some issues right now with Luke, but I would love to chat with you. One thing I want to talk about, though, let me pull this up. So this is the table right now. Okay. And, you know, we got a game in hand on Liverpool, Chelsea, West Ham, pretty much everybody above us except for Everton. Everton actually has a game in hand on us. They're a point ahead of us. Let me ask you, do you think top four is still possible? Do we get our hopes up? I mean, this is the problem with being a Spurs fan at times, right? Is that you start to get your hopes up, and then all of a sudden you're just left wanting. So let me ask you, do you think that we can crack the top four by the end of the season? I think it's possible, but man, it's so hard to get your hopes up. You know, when you look at the form of Liverpool right now, obviously 4 losses in a row before they had their last win. They're going to play Chelsea coming up. You think, man, Liverpool seem like they're in just as tough a spot as us. One thing I like to look at too is just the goal differential. I think that's a huge indicator. You know, obviously Man City is just flying. United's doing well. Leicester's doing well. Chelsea's doing well. And then you got West Ham with 9. We're down here with 14. 12 here for Villa. I think that tells a little bit of the story, or a little bit more of the story of how the team is doing. But I would love to hear your thoughts on that. CM Groucho, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining the stream. Alexander Hilton says, we win, and there's only 3 points between us and West Ham. You're not wrong. And that's another thing to consider, right? First of all, let's just look at this beauty right here. 8 goals, none against. It's a beautiful thing to see. But let me pull up these next few fixtures, right? We've got Fulham coming up on Thursday. We've got Crystal Palace on Sunday. Do you think it's 6 points? I think it should be 6 points, especially the way that we're playing. But man, it's gonna be difficult to just be watching this because of the results that we've had against smaller opposition. So let's see what else we got. James says, we need to hope that West Ham and Chelsea start losing a couple of matches, though. I think that's true. Mr. K, top 4 is only possible if we score well and concede little. We can do one. Ooh, there's some truth to that. We seem to either score well or concede little, but we can do one. Let's hope something changes. I hope something changes. I hope that we can start to see a little bit more conceding little, because, yeah, like Techno was saying, I think that Davinson Sanchez is going to have a lot of confidence coming out of this last game. I wonder if Jose will pick him to start again against Fulham. What's interesting is I feel like Jose keeps Sanchez and drops either Toby or Dyer. So maybe Dyer will get the start on Thursday as opposed to Toby. I think top 4 is possible, but like I said, I'm afraid to hope. It hurts to hope, and then get your hopes crushed again and again. Wanted to share this really quickly. Let's see here. This is about our spending. So take a look at this. Players bought over 30 million. Manchester United has bought 23 players over 30 million. Chelsea has bought 22 players over 30 million. City has bought 20 players over 30 million. Liverpool, 12 very recently. Woolwich, 8. Spurs, Everton, and Leicester, 3. 3. And then this is their, kind of final point. Our expectations were due to a manager hugely overachieving. Don't ever expect to be competing again under these owners. I don't know about that. I think under these owners, it's going to take a heck of a lot longer to be competing, but I think we will compete. But I think this is a huge, huge part of I don't know if it's the issue, but we're coming up against a Man City team in this League Cup final, wherein they've got 20 players over 30 million. We've got 3. It's going to take a bit of a stretch, but I think it's possible. But man, it just shows how much further we have to go financially as a club to be able to compete with teams like this. Mr. K, don't get me wrong, I love this team. I know you do. I think we all do. That's what love kind of looks like. That. Am I wrong? It looks like being with the team, with a person, in the highs and the lows. It's that faithfulness, that over time, no matter how bad it is, you're consistently with and for that person, that club. And it's tough stuff. CM Groucho over on Twitch. Even though I'm Italian and an AC Milan fan, Spurs are my favorite team in England, so I really hope you guys can do well in these next run of games. Thank you so much. Yeah, and there's a couple Italian friends of ours in our Discord server, so you should totally come and join us on the Discord server. I can't get in the chat really quickly. I'll have to post it somewhere. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll post our Discord server on there, and would love to have you join. It's just at Let's Talk THFC with little underscores in between. I don't know if I've got here. Let's do this. I think that'll show it. Boom, right there. And we would love to have you join the conversation on Discord. Constantly having people talk. And want to just shout out to Ryan who got us on that Soccer Guru. People are on there playing with these little kind of FIFA team stuff. It's a lot of fun. Let's see, Mr. K. I still remember when we couldn't keep Berbatov. So as far as I'm concerned, we're doing well. Yeah, I think we are doing well. We're keeping our better players for sure. And it's just everyone else, no one else is standing still. So even as we're improving, everyone else is improving. It makes it a very difficult to keep up consistently. So yeah, it's tough. But I think we're improving. Oh, wait a minute. Am I getting it? Mr. K, you're saying, no, you don't get it. Look at the last time we sold a first team player to any of our competitors. Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree with that. We're definitely not doing that anymore. I think Levy understands that, when you think about Berbatov or something like that, it's can we afford to sell that player to another Premier League club? Can we afford that and receive the finances? At this point, we're competing in such a way we can't afford to do that anymore. That's why when people talk about Harry Kane going to Manchester United, do you understand like how much money they would have to pay? It'd be out of control, absolutely out of control. Alexander says, our 2 out of that 3 is Lo Celso and Ndombele. 2 out of that 3, I'm missing one. All 3 of those is Lo Celso, Ndombele, and Reguilon. I'm sorry, I'm missing that. Sorry, I got confused. I'm probably talking to myself over here. All right, there was some other questions from Luke. Luke had these questions. First, his question was, can we talk about how majestic and beautiful Gareth Bale is? Obviously, I think we all want to talk about that. But here's his other question. This is one I want to put to you just before we kind of finish up this stream here, is where will we sit in the league the night before the North London Derby? Where will we sit in the league the night before we play the North London Derby? Now, just again, just to show you where we're at. Here's where we're at, in 8th place here. And then you look at these upcoming fixtures. We've got 6 points, and then we got that North London Derby away. Personally, so just to keep some things in mind, we're in 8th with 39 points. We've got a game in hand on West Ham. They're in 4th with 45 points. Chelsea in 5th with 44 points. Liverpool in 6th with 43 points. I don't know how much further up the table we go. Maybe we could be in 7th, but I think that's going to be a significant game for the mentals. I feel we've got this looming final against Manchester City, and at first I was thinking, let's play that in February, because if we could play that, get the win, get that trophy monkey off of our backs, we would really start to be able to build some momentum. But I'm so glad that it's not till the end of April. I don't know about you, but I feel so glad that it's not till the end of April, because Man City are on fire right now. They don't look to lose. I don't know how you beat them right now. If we could get Gio back, that'll be huge. If we could get Dele and Bale firing on all cylinders, all these things would be huge for our squad before we get into that final. So, I think you got 2 games here. You got a Europa game, and then you're playing them on March 14th. You got that North London Derby. I don't know how much further we go up the table before we get there, but we'll just have to wait and see. Alex is 4th ahead of Chelsea by 1 point. Wow. That is, wow. I think that's a pretty high expectations. I hope so. That would be awesome if we could actually crack 4th place before that North London Derby. That would be huge. So let me ask you, just before we end this show here, Thursday, we've got Fulham away. What are your scoreline predictions for Fulham away? I'd have to go back. I forget what the score was the last time we played Fulham. Anybody remember off the top of their head? Let me see here. Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw. That's what I thought. 1-1 draw against Fulham. And that was, that was before we lost to Liverpool. And we had those run of games where it was just so disappointing. But I think that we are starting to turn a corner as a squad. I think as long as we can keep everybody healthy, and I mean that when I say like Harry Kane, this is about that time of year where Harry Kane gets a little nibble at his ankles and you start to get, but I think Jose Mourinho has convinced Harry to not play in these Europa games so that he can play for the whole season. And I'm excited for that. I think he breaks a lot of records. I think we win some trophies. And Harry Kane is a happy man in lily white. Mr. K, on our day, we can beat any team. The final is a real final for us. City hate playing us. I think there's some truth to that, especially with Jose, right? They did beat us last time out, but I think we were pretty defeated before we even got started in that game. So I think the confidence will be high, the opportunity, knowing that, hey, this game, you win this game, you get a trophy, that taste, will be on the tip of their tongues, and they'll want to get that victory. So, but yeah, it's just, I'm glad it's at the end of April. James is saying 2-1 to us. Alex is saying 3-1 for Spurs to beat Fulham. Jamie is 3-1. Ashley, 4-1. Mr. K, 4-1. We're on fire. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
In Jose we trust, I think I'm noticing all these ones because there's no clean, we're not used to keeping clean sheets here. But we got 2 clean sheets in a row. One is against Burnley. They're not scoring a ton of goals. Although neither is Fulham. They're in the bottom 3. So I think you guys might be right, but I'm going to say 3-0. 3-0. I don't know. Maybe that's too ambitious, but I think 3-0 to Spurs, even away from home. We get a solid win. It'll be 3 games in a row that we've kept a clean sheet, and we keep moving forward. I think in Jose we trust is definitely the way to go right now. I wouldn't really want to go any other way. I've got Luke. Luke has joined. So we're going to bring on Luke. What's going on, Luke?
It is a great day. I'm sorry, corporate America, for some reason, doesn't take Tottenham seriously and make it the precedent of the work from home work day, but I'm glad to be here.
Oh my gosh. We talked a little bit about your questions because I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to make it, but I'm so glad you did. And, I understand that, corporate America, they just don't get us footy fans,
Priorities, come on.
Seriously. So, man, you were talking about how majestic and how beautiful Gareth Bale is. Do you think he's totally back, or do you think there's more to come?
Let's just say Gareth Bale, when he is playing, he is a beautiful man. I mean, he's beautiful. He's the equivalent of like an 80s pop song. When they have those saxophone solos come in and those 80s pop songs? That's how Gareth Bale plays.
Yeah, dude.
It's smooth. It's overflowing with sensuality. I know this is a family show, so I won't.
That's all right.
Continue on. But
speaking of family show, though, do you know what that just reminded me of immediately is the TV show Family Matters.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like that's
Bale.
Yeah, it's totally. That is what Gareth Bale is. It's like he's comforting, but he's kind of sexy, but it's also like intriguing. Yeah, it's wonderful. And you know what though? Here's what I want to know is like I've seen some pictures of his hair down. Do you know what I'm saying? Like full on pony. I kind of want to see that in a game. Just let that hair out.
You got to let it go. I'm an old school guy. When he was at Spurs and it was,
clean.
Mid 2000s boy band style. Yes. I mean, I dig that. So I'm not a huge fan of the man bun.
Yeah.
Or whatever the top braid. He's got to let it loose, let it flow.
He does have so much hair now. I wonder like what that's about. Like at this point, is it like Samson? There's that Bible story where like if you cut Samson's hair, he's got no strength anymore. And maybe that's what it is for Gareth Bale. He's like, dude, you can't cut my hair. Or I won't have it.
Gareth Bale got into his Old Testament theology and while he was sitting on the bench at Madrid.
Totally. Dude, he had so much time on his hands.
Anyway, much time. He's just getting to theology.
Yeah, dude. Mr. K says Bale is a smooth operator. That's for sure. And then about the North London Derby and where we're going to sit. So we've got six points available to us. We're playing Fulham and Crystal Palace before we play them. We've got a game in hand on Liverpool, Chelsea, and I believe West Ham. I don't know how much we move up because I think everybody else is going to get some points too. Although Liverpool is playing Chelsea next, so potentially it could be a draw there, and their form hasn't been great. Maybe it's a loss. But what are you thinking? Are you thinking we move up the table?
I don't think it's going to be too much. And the reason I asked that question is really when I think about the night before the North London derby. So March 13th, when you're sitting in bed,
right?
Are you dreading the next day? Because that's what it's all about. It's about what are the stakes of the actual match?
Yes.
Are we going to be neck and neck with Arsenal? Is it going to be a 5-point gap? Is it going to be a 6-point gap? Because the pressure of that game could determine how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So yeah, right now, well, let's just look at us and them. So we're 8th, they're 10th. We got a game in hand on them. They're 37 points. We're at 39. So yeah, I guess, and I don't know how many games they're playing. I don't really pay attention to their schedule, but I'm thinking. So let's see where they're playing next. Okay, they're playing Burnley next. So they've got Burnley away. Burnley will be smarting because we just spanked them.
Yeah, Sean Dyche. Come on, Sean Dyche.
Yeah, I can believe in him. The Ginger Jose Mourinho, I heard,
yes.
is what he's been called. So, okay, so I think, yes, the pressure will definitely matter, especially because we're playing away. But I have this feeling, I don't think Jose respects Arsenal.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing, like, when he came in, I was really disappointed about. It's like, oh, gosh, dude. Jose Mourinho and Chelsea, and you just think of like who he is, and then though, like, I think he kind of hates Arsenal just as much as we might, and so it's okay, you know. And I think before the last North London derby, he had said something like very kind about what's his name, their manager, Mikel Arteta. And he was like, "Oh, he's a great coach," or whatever. And then they lost, and so I have this feeling that Jose's going to have our team ready to go for the North London derby. I think the pressure. I don't know if the pressure will be there in terms of the table, because we do have that game in hand. We're already a couple points ahead. But yeah, I think I will still. It's still a North London derby though, because so like me the night before, I'm still going to be nervous about it.
But you don't think Jose is going to be nervous, and the players aren't going to be as concerned as the fans are? I don't think so. Not as concerned as the fans are, personally. Let me go back to this chat and see. Do you guys think that the Spurs team is going to be a little more nervous, or as nervous as the fans are when it comes to this North London derby? We got some people in here talking about Harry Kane. I was talking about him before, and James is saying he's going to smash Jimmy Graham's weather for goals. Let's see what else. Bale's a smooth operator. We have to beat Arsenal in the North London derby. It's because that's my birthday, says Alexander Hilton. Well, we have to.
Yes, then we definitely have to. And happy birthday coming up. Definitely a way to celebrate for sure. Ginty says Bale hat trick against the Gooners incoming. Jose has never lost to Arsenal. Jose has never lost to Arsenal. That's a stat. I didn't know that.
He'll let you know that if we win.
He'll remind everybody about it. So yeah, going back to Gareth Bale though, you definitely think that we're going to extend his loan to another season, right? Or no?
Well, here's my heart wants that, absolutely.
Yeah.
My gut is telling me this whole journey has been about Gareth Bale being ready to play in the Euros this summer. And I think that's the whole point, was getting him physically ready to play in the Euros. He goes to Spurs, everyone pats him on the back. He's with his Welsh buddies.
Yes.
Everyone loves him. He scores a couple goals. And unfortunately, I think he's destined for Miami FC, playing golf in Florida, score a bunch of goals in MLS, and then retire. That's how, honestly, I think what's going to happen, unfortunately.
Man. You know,
it's sad, I know.
That is so sad. But, like, yeah, I guess you kind of see him, like, kind of going off into the sunset. I
don't know. After this weekend, I was like, this guy he can play in the Premier League for 4 more years if he plays like that.
Well, if he plays like that, for sure. But to go back to what you were saying, though, about what this loan move was for him. Right, because that's about him as a player. He needs to, get his fitness. He needs to be playing. They got the Euros coming up, and all that you're saying, like, oh man, the Welsh boys, like they brought in Roden, and they got that Welsh mafia thing going. Like, dude, maybe you're right. Maybe like this is all about him just in his Wales, international career, and his not his manager, his agent was, just saying like, yeah, he's kind of at the end of his career, which was really shocking to me, because when you see what you've seen in these last few games, that's not a guy at the end of his career. I think it's a guy maybe on the far side of his peak. He's not at his peak anymore. No one expects him to be that. But I do feel that it's not. I don't think he's done yet. I don't know if they. I think they do want to extend it one more year. Personally, I think they would be happy to do that. I think Levy would be happy to do that, especially if it's the same rate, because they're not paying him nearly as much. But I definitely don't think anything after that. I think you're probably right on. He goes to Miami FC, catches up with Beckham over there. Isn't he the owner of Miami?
Yeah. And Gary Neville's going to be the new manager.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, one of the. I think that's right.
Dude, the MLS is just a pyramid scheme, my man. You know this, right?
It is.
Dude, if you're watching from the UK and you're wondering why I watch Spurs, it's because I can't watch the MLS. And if you're an American fan and you love the MLS, I'm sorry, I just can't watch it. It's so. And maybe this is part of the reason why I love Spurs, and you can maybe speak to this too. So, you're in Michigan. Do you watch the Lions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you mean
I suffer watching the Lions?
Right. So
I suffer.
Yeah. So you know what it's like for a terrible team to be able to draft like high draft picks and still be terrible, never win a playoff game, right?
Yes.
That's when you can blame ownership. To me, I'm like, dude, the NFL has given you every chance year after year after year to actually improve. Whereas for Spurs, right, you have to be smart in how you sell, how you purchase players, your academy, all those different things. And so I think Levy is building up this machine in the background, and now he's finally got the stadium, everything's there. He's got his manager now. Hopefully he's got a little 5-year plan. And
sell high, baby. I think that's the thing. He's getting ready to sell it.
Yes. And it's a different atmosphere than just being able to like say, this college or university has spent all this time developing this player. We're just going to pick him up and develop him from there. I just think give Jose some time. And the Lions are just a perfect example of like, dude, that's when ownership is to blame. It's like you've been given every Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, all that stuff. So hopefully, I mean, did you see that new interview, by the way? I know we're talking about Lions on a Tottenham show. I'm going to switch that in just a second.
The demographic is very narrow.
Sorry, guys. If you're watching this and you're like, dude, get back to the Spurs, just Google Motor City Dan Campbell. Just Google Dan Campbell and biting kneecaps off, and you should you'll enjoy our new head coach.
You'll know what's how insane this organization is.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Okay, let's see. Mr. K says, no, confidence is high when the front three are in form. We'll smash Arsenal. Alex is saying, if Bale is playing well, why would we not extend his loan? Jamie is saying, boring, ? Sorry, that's my bad. Mr. K said, shirt sales alone would keep him next year. I don't know. I don't know if Levy would keep somebody just for shirt sales, although he did sign Alex Morgan for what seemed like shirt sales. Yeah. So do you think we'll get top 4? We'll end it here. Do you think we'll get top 4 this season? Do you think it's possible?
Anything is possible if you believe and put your heart into it. And then anything is possible to fail if you're a Spurs supporter. So I'm a very optimistic person, but being a Spurs fan has made me less optimistic. I think that's best case scenario.
Yeah.
You got to look at it in a spectrum. Best case scenario, we make top 4. Worst case scenario, we're 8th and we don't win a cup.
Sure. Yeah, I think that is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is we're out of Europa and we don't have any silverware. That'll be super disappointing. How long have you been following Spurs?
It's got to be over 10 years. It's ironic you brought up the Detroit Lions. When I was looking to follow a Premier League team, part of my criteria was I was comfortable choosing a team that was in a big major city, obviously in England, but also a team that had a lot of history and a history of suffering. And so I think there's a shared fan connection. I really believe in the joy of fanhood is to suffer. And I also want to thank you and all the listeners and folks in the group for getting us through this winter of Spurs that's hopefully going to be in a spring of optimism.
Yeah. I think it was you who said, I would rather suffer with you guys than be a Gooner. And I
absolutely.
I think that's the way it should be.
What it's all about.
That's what it's all about. So so if you're looking for an NFL team and you're a Spurs fan living in England and you want to find like the Spurs suffering in the NFL, I would suggest to you Honolulu Blue, and the Detroit Lions would probably be a good fit for you. All right, last little comments here. Which, by the way, dude, if you got to go to get back to work, thank you so much for being on, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on. It was a blast.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I'll catch you later. So we've got a couple more comments here. I just wanted to make sure we got. Mr. K said we'll miss out on the top four. It'll seem like we'll be trying towards the end, but fall short. A cup is what we need at that time. I completely agree. If we can get a cup, even if we miss out on the top four, it'll feel like progression. Jinty says, if we are out of the cups in top four, we can do a Conte Chelsea and win the league next season, since we don't have midweek football and drain our players. This was something that I was frustrated about when Leicester won the league, when we didn't, and it was so disappointing. When Leicester won the league, they didn't have Europe. And then the following year, Chelsea won the league and they didn't have Europe. And so, maybe you start to see some 200 IQ from Daniel Levy and Jose Mourinho. And, you never know. And 92 Flamethrower, what about the Chargers? I'm from San Diego. All right. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of NFL teams. They can all be fun to watch. I'm just saying, we know what it's like to be waiting for that one big one. So, all right, everyone, it's been so fun to actually discuss 2 back-to-back wins, the beautiful Gareth Bale. Hopefully next week we'll be discussing how we've maybe progressed in the table, maybe another clean sheet. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying 3-0 to Spurs against Fulham, even away. Maybe I'm a little too excited about this one, but I feel like, it's good to see clean sheet after clean sheet. I think we can do one more against Fulham. And then, we got Crystal Palace after that. So I'm excited to see what we've got. Get in on our Discord server. Make sure you jump into that. We've got a lot of awesome people that have been connecting with us. And just a reminder, I really love to have, let me see if I can pull this up really quickly. Really love to have you send in your post-match thoughts and audio clips. And today we tried doing some live callers. If you want to be a live caller, let me know, and we're gonna try using this this Discord channel to make that happen a little more often. But way more fun to have you guys joining in on the call. And as I like to say, as ever, it was great talking with you.